This is the FM Gold channel of All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on development policies and projects in Jammu and Kashmir. The participants are Shekhar Iyer, political analyst, and Vinay Kumar, journalist.
In yet another initiative on Jammu and Kashmir, the centre has decided to send members of Council of Ministers from New Delhi to Jammu and Kashmir. The state now has been bifurcated and the Union Territory will receive Union Ministers who will interact with people, go to far-flung areas and tell them about development policies and the steps taken by the centre since August 5 when Article 370 was withdrawn and the state was bifurcated into two, Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir. Starting this weekend, ministers have visited Jammu and they are supposed to visit at least 51 places in Jammu and rest 8 or 9 places in the valley. Shekhar, if we see this initiative, it comes soon after a delegation of diplomats, including the US ambassador, were taken to Kashmir and Jammu, both the places, to see for themselves how situation is developing. So this is an initiative at a high level, sending ministers like Union Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, Smriti Irani, Piyush Goyal, whole lot of them, because the valley still remains cut off in terms of access to information, although internet restrictions have been relaxed to quite a bit.
As you mentioned, Vinayji, this is a big message from the central government to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, that the focus is on development as the security situation has now stabilized. We have seen that restrictions have been lifted. Internet is also back in many areas. Telephone connectivity, mobile connectivity have been restored, which goes to show that the confidence that today the central government has regarding the overall security situation there. Now with security situation stabilizing, the focus is now on development, which is the main task and the main challenge before the people as well as the government. So this is a very unique move. We believe this is the initiative of Home Minister Amit Shah ji and also fully backed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. The idea is that these ministers convey the message of development of their various ministries and departments for the people of both Jammu as well as Kashmir Valley. They are going to meet a number of people. They will be meeting also politicians, political leaders, panchayat leaders, Jilla Parishad leaders. We have just seen those elections were completed to Zilla Parishad. We have seen the kind of participation of the people. Therefore, the overall idea is that this kind of interaction, this kind of samvad, the dialogue between the top ministers and the people and the district administration is to convey the message that now this is a feedback time. The feedback is both from the people to the ministers, and ministers in turn are giving the message as to the removal of Article 370 from the state. What was the purpose? What is the goals ahead? What are the different tasks to generate employment? What are the different tasks to bring about better healthcare facilities, better schools, better educational facilities, and overall to create an environment where there can be a private investment and growth of employment opportunities. These are several ideas that the government has. And, to visit the Kashmir Valley, particularly in this weather, is all itself a challenge. But the ministers are going there and Prime Minister has also appealed to them that they must convey the message of development to the people, take feedback and overall convey a message to the world at large that how today Jammu and Kashmir is today a union territory with special care under the special attention of the centre and what all are being done to improve the quality of life or the ease of life of that people.
And Shekhar, several political leaders who had been detained, although former 3 chief ministers still remain under detention, but they have been released. Gradually they have been released. And the noteworthy fact is that after August 5, there has not been any violence. There has not been any death of any person agitating or protesting. There is also a concern among, the various quarters, let's say civil society or NGOs or intellectuals or diplomats that, dialogue with people is lacking. And this, I think, is one of the very key steps in forging that dialogue. You hinted at Samvad because people have not had any say in formulating the policies and programs and development programs. As Prime Minister Modi time and again said that abrogation of Article 370 will hasten the process of integration of Jammu and Kashmir with rest of India. And there has been concerns, as you said, on educational front. Many children have not been able to complete their courses after this lockdown happened in the valley. And globally also, if we see, we have seen Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan saying that Pakistan has failed miserably to rake up Kashmir issue on global international platforms. So on one hand, we have seen security situation stabilizing. Diplomatically, India has been able to convey to rest of the world and the superpowers that Kashmir remains an internal issue of India, an internal problem of India, in which will be dealt with by the center, by the union government. And on the security front, there has been no major concerns after Pulwama happened early 2019. So, this also remains a very good situation or appropriate time, so to put it, to take these initiatives.
Exactly, because in terms of what was the security challenge when Article 370 was made inoperative in the state, and these two regions, the Jammu and Kashmir, were converted into a union territory and Ladakh was made into another union territory. So some of the major concern was, cracking down upon the separatist groups and their network. That has been accomplished. We have seen both the army and other security forces in a very coordinated operation. They have isolated the separatist elements as well as come down heavily on those trying to disturb the peace there. So you can see a dramatic improvement in security situation, and because the whole objective of the government was that once you stabilize the security by cracking down on the root of the separatism, which Article 370 was seen as a kind of a psychological boost for the separatist tendencies, having removed that, now what we are witnessing now is that whatever that is needed to take the state forward in terms of better utilization of central funds, active participation of the people in various schemes, and overall involvement or a sense of participation and involvement on a community level basis. Now, you mentioned about Samvad. You see, the dialogue has started in a sense. You are already seeing, apart from the top leaders of the parties belonging to the valley, you are already seeing among those parties, whether it is National Conference or whether it is PDP, you are already seeing the second level and third level workers are already, leaders are looking at a new scenario because they have accepted the situation as it stands today, which is that these Jammu and Kashmir is today a union territory, Ladakh is a union territory. As far as Ladakh is concerned, we have seen that people were overjoyed when this UT status was given to them because they have always felt neglected for all these years. With centers, special assistance and direct care as a union territory, people there are very happy. Now, in the case of Jammu and Kashmir, we have seen in Jammu, people welcomed this development because they have always felt, because of the nature of the politics has been practiced around Article 370, that had been not in the interest of the people. So they are also happy. Now, the whole question is Kashmir Valley, where there have been, because of the long years of some kind of an encouragement to the separatist elements, we have seen some kind of misconception and misunderstanding. But that misunderstanding, misconception is gradually now going away because there also people have accepted that return to the previous times is absolutely not possible. The pre-August 2019 situation is not possible. It's a new situation. Now, making Article 370 inoperative was, I would consider, the last of the steps because before that we saw how the government cracked down on Hawala operation, use of money power in separatism, the nexus between corrupt contractors, businessmen, politicians. We have seen government undertaking civil investigation. Those have had a very salutary effect in terms of, I would say, a message that now the state is poised for a big leap in terms of development. Counter argument has been that, Jammu Kashmir was already developed before, there was nothing to develop, nothing new. This is a very cynical argument because what we are seeing was the amount of money that center was spending there and in terms of what is happening on the ground are two different pictures. So therefore, now you can see that when these ministers are going to far-flung areas, talking to the people, taking feedback, they are also conveying what kind of development idea that the center has in mind for these people. And very fact that we saw the kind of participation earlier in Panchayat elections, then Zilla Parishad elections, people are eager for development. People are eager for having a say in development. So, several ideas, several plans which are being formulated, keeping in view what the local people have wanted. Now, this exercise of ministers going there gives an opportunity for the people, local people particularly, local communities, to express their specific requirements, their demands.
Shikhar, as you rightly said, that this presents an opportunity for the government to directly interact with people, get their feedback, and also tailor-make some of the policies and programs according to the needs. And as Prime Minister Modi himself in his rallies, he hinted that, it was the funds which were being siphoned off in the name of development by select few. At least that will stop. And that is where, if you see the amount of funds released by the center, made available to Jammu and Kashmir, was not in consonance with the development work carried out there. So that was also a big grouse of the people, that where these funds were disappearing. And then the separatism, terrorism, all those incidents were also happening. Now, if we go from here, so let's say ministers' visits and their feedbacks, it will take a couple of weeks for them to, synchronize their policies or fine-tune the government policies as per the needs of the people. The next step would be what the opposition has been demanding. And considering the fact that both Prime Minister Modi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah, they encourage thinking out of box. So next step could be taking a delegation of MPs to the valley to see for themselves, and because this has been one of the demands of opposition, and you never know that this may come as the next step after ministers. MPs may visit from several parties, and all party delegation may visit Jammu and Kashmir to see for themselves how normalcy is being restored step by step.
Yeah, definitely. There should not be any problem. As you say, as things get better and things are improving on the ground, definitely there can be a visit by opposition MPs. We have already seen some of these MPs also visited after, I think, moving the courts. Some of them went to those places. In fact, the whole place is now getting ready to receive people from across the country. People are going there so that they can see for themselves, because ultimately this is a participatory process. But it would be too premature to say that, this is going to happen soon or later, because everything depends on how the situation evolves. I think, but what is important, Vinayji, here is, see, earlier we saw government going during the governor's rule. You see, previously there was governor's rule prior to this. Now, even during governor's rule, we saw the government coming with a very innovative scheme of senior officials of the state government going to far-flung areas. The secretaries of various department, and it was considered bringing government officials to the doorstep, so that people living in far-flung areas, they can address their basic issues as to safe drinking water, piped water supply, sanitary issues, health issues, functioning of primary health care centers, availability of, specialty medical care. These are several things which it is important to take feedback from the people, since all of them cannot come to Jammu or to Srinagar to convey. So that itself was a very innovative exercise. Now this exercise of more than 30 ministers, and as you mentioned, some of them are very senior ministers, whether it is Ravi Shankar Prasad ji or Smriti Irani ji or Nitin Gadkari ji, these ministers are going there. They are definitely taking with them the plans that the ministries have worked out for that place. In terms of what are the basic things that can be improved upon, what more can be provided. Because overall an issue of concern in both Kashmir Valley as well as Jammu has been the issue of employment, the issue of utilizing the local talents. So therefore I see this exercise is a very big exercise, it's a very unique exercise, and it shows sincerity of the central government towards the people, sincerity of the ministers and the ministries, that just because Article 370 has been done away with, it doesn't mean that central government has forgotten its other promises and commitment for the people of the state.
So, Shekhar, let's hope that this part of the government's outreach program to directly interact with the people of Jammu and Kashmir will bring the desired results. And as Home Minister Amit Shah had indicated also in several of his statements, that the next step could be granting of full statehood to Jammu and Kashmir, as the demands have been, concerns have been raised on that. So let's hope that this works out positively, and development programs are given a big boost with the visit of union ministers to Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you, Shekhar, for the discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on development policies and projects in Jammu and Kashmir. The participants were Shekhar Iyer, political analyst, and Vinay Kumar, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. This program is also available on our website, newsonair.com. You can also follow us on the News on AIR app for updates. You may email opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.